1080p, so 720p is the best I can do, which is Zoom anyways. Basically, let me get it's starting up. So just give me a second here, okay? Don't be picking your nose or anything.
We're on there. I see us.
Yeah, we're live now. So let me close that window down.
Hello,
And let me. Yeah, I can't. I got to refresh my tablet here. Can you see all six of us?
Yeah.
You can?
Mm-hmm.
Can
Yes,
you
sir.
Can you hear us?
I don't know. I got my volume down. Let me turn it up.
Okay. Do that because I'm not
see all
sure.
six of us? Yeah.
Hold on. Let me get
like
my.
we're there.
Yes, sir.
I think it's working.
Let me mute my YouTube. So, okay. Let me get it up here.
Yeah, we're there.
We're there. He said. Do that because I'm not
see all
sure.
six of us? Yeah.
Okay. Wait a minute. Hold on a minute.
That was me. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I can see the chat now.
Yes. I'm trying to pull it up in my tablet so I can see it from over here. Just hold on a second here. Live.
Yeah.
Here it is. I got it. Come on. Somebody's typing.
I don't know what you're talking about. Big, fancy gamer keyboard.
Anyways, I'll get to it later. Okay. Let me get my Zoom window pulled up. I can't see the screen. Okay. Well, I want to welcome everybody back to the Photographers Roundtable. This is our third episode of the first season. I started calling them S1, E3. So, we'll see how long this goes. I imagine we might get tired of this and not do it so often. I don't know. But I want to welcome Phil back, Phil Vignola back from Florida. Okay.
Thanks. North Carolina.
And we have a new person tonight, Double G. Is it? Yeah, that's what he calls himself on his videos, Double G. Yeah. So Garrick, welcome to the group. And
thank you.
Where are you from?
Yorkville, Illinois. I grew up actually just the next town over, Oswego, Illinois, but I'm about 40 miles south and mostly west, I guess, of Chicago.
Why don't you tell the group or tell us just a little bit about yourselves?
Well, let's see. Well, I've been doing photography pretty much my whole life. I mean, since I was a little kid, like 4 or 5 years old, playing with the parents' Polaroid, and then through high school was, doing like film photography, developing, processing, canisters, developing your own film, making your own prints in the darkroom. Really got into it, in that stage of my life, and went to college at Southern Illinois University and studied cinema and photography. And promptly out of college, I got a job in the insurance industry, and then that led to a 30-year career in the insurance industry, obviously doing photography as a hobby on the side, and I guess more than a hobby here and there. I've done a lot of portrait work, a lot of real estate work, a lot of sports photography for the local high schools, and kind of done it all. My passion is, well, I don't know if I've got one passion, to be honest. Landscape, city. I love it all, honestly. I do. So yeah, and then I don't know, a handful of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I guess I got into the YouTube thing, and um, end of summer, August, end of August in 2023, the insurance industry told me and about 2,400 of my closest friends that we are no longer necessary. So since then, I've been actually doing a lot more photography. So things are good.
How old are you, Garrick?
I just turned 59 a couple weeks ago.
So you're getting close to retirement age.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. My wife is, she's got a good job and
Mhm.
you know, very, very solid career. And yeah, so I was thinking 59 and a half, but who
Yeah.
knows? Could go to
Well, there's
62.
there's plenty of YouTube help videos on
I
that.
know. I know.
So you can figure it out eventually. We all have our
There's too many. There's like analysis paralysis. I've watched a few, but yeah, well, I'm gonna we have a friend that's a you know professional, so I'm gonna talk to him and we'll figure
Mhm.
it out. But yeah, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
So
Well, I was the same way when I retired. I retired in December 31st, and I'm 67 in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months now. And I was scared. Okay, I really was. I was scared about the finances more than anything.
yeah,
And this past week, we were able to sit down, my wife and I, and talk about some things. And I'm not so scared anymore. Okay.
great.
Yeah. So, having a good plan up front,
Yep,
I think we planned for a lot of years up front, and I thought I really never kept up with it too much. I just had a wife that always did it for me, and she was in
same.
finance. She was in finances anyway. She worked for financial companies most of her life, so I just trusted her with all that information. But yeah, well, welcome to the group.
Thank
Now,
you.
I understand that you shoot Nikon.
Yeah.
Okay, and some of the people here don't
Uh-oh.
shoot
Can we
Nikon.
find a Cannon shooter somewhere?
Well,
Not canon today.
Wait a minute
since
now, Phil Thach is a Canon guy,
I'm shooting Canon right now. That camera right there is a Canon.
It actually depends on what week it is.
yeah, I've
think
seen a
this-
bunch of Phil's videos. I think he's got every camera, but since Phil put his up,
There you go. There you go.
Well, I put
Yeah.
this up for
It's
you,
never
Garrett, because
too
this is
far
my
from
D850.
I mean, we got all the
I'm
camps
going to
covered.
the dark side.
There you go. I mean, we got this. I think we got Sony, Leica. There you go. See, Canon. We got it all. We're non-denominational. Okay.
I've got one that I want to shoot. Here, I'll show you.
Okay, get it. I can tell Double G's gonna fit right in.
Double G, you have to wear pajama pants. That way, if you stand up, everybody sees your pajama pants.
Did you notice?
Oh, were you in your pajama pants?
Close. I have
mine on.
sweatpants on.
On episode 1, I was.
I don't have mine on. Hey, look here, Tim.
I see
That's a
that.
fancy mug right there.
I should be in my pajama pants because I've been out shoveling snow the last couple hours.
Oh
So-
man, we had it for 3 days. I thought we were in heaven.
So, Garrick, the only camera you have is a Nikon D850.
No, I've got a D500 as well, and I've got a Canon M50.
I got one of those.
Which I use that primarily for the video parts when I do YouTube videos. I've probably shot, honestly, I've had that camera for probably 5-6 years. I probably shot less than 50 still images on it. It's primarily video.
On what camera was that? I didn't get that.
That's my M50, Canon
Okay.
M50.
Okay.
So, but
So you just use that for video?
yeah,
M50.
primarily.
Yeah. So are you when you're out vlogging, are you using the M50 or using a Pocket 3 or what?
I use the M50 for a lot of the video, especially the talking pieces, and for B-roll, I honestly can use my phone. I use a GoPro 11 and use the M50 for some B-roll. I've been using my the DSLRs for B-roll as well in the last couple of years. So
Well, I had a viewer, okay, from the last roundtable send me an email, Okay. And she had a question for the group. And I read it today. You all know her. Okay. She's on all our channels. Kath. Okay. K26V, something, no, whatever. Anyways, she had a question, and here was the question. I'm going to read the whole thing and we'll put it in perspective here. I noticed that Phil T uses a gimbal style bracket and also has an L bracket fixed to his camera, whereas I only see ball heads or nothing at all used by the rest of the group. The other day, I saw a fellow using one of those collars to go from horizontal to vertical shots with a twist of a lever that seemed to work well for him. I'm not sure how to pose or word this question, but would like to know why one prefers an L bracket versus just using a ball head, and do they have thoughts on the collars that are out there? So I think what she's trying to say is, a lot of us in the old days would just flip the ball head over on its side to go vertical. And mostly now everybody uses, nice cup, Tim. Mostly now everybody uses an L bracket, okay, to do that. So I guess what she's asking is why we prefer the L bracket over just using the ball head and flipping it over. So somebody want to take a stab at that question?
I do.
Do it, Phil. It's got your name in there anyway, so you go ahead.
Well, I try to put an L bracket on every camera I have, which can be kind of expensive just buying L brackets, but it's just so much better to be able to take the camera off of the ball head or the geared head or whatever head you're using and mount it this way instead of leaning your ball head over. And then you've got this situation at the top of your tripod.
Yeah.
When you put it on here this way, then it's nice and balanced. So there's the one part of that answer, but the other part of that answer is if you're using a telephoto lens and you're on a gimbal, the way to go into portrait mode is to loosen the collar and then just turn the body, just like that.
Right.
So, but I don't take my L brackets off. Even when I'm on a gimbal and the camera's mounted on the tripod foot, I still just leave the L bracket on there. And the L bracket, I never take it off. It doesn't take up much extra room in the bag. If I drop my camera, at least some part of it might be protected. So anyway, that's my thing on those things.
Probably not the hot shoe.
Yeah, not the hot shoe.
Well, I think one important part here is if you're going to, now there's a couple schools of thought, what I'm going to say. If you're going to purchase an L bracket, it just depends, but they are expensive. They're not cheap, especially if you get one made for your camera. And two of the biggest companies out there that make made for or custom fit L brackets is Kirk Enterprises and Really Right Stuff. And they both companies are equally quality materials. Okay, there's third-party options out there like the three-legged thing, and sometimes you have to go to third party, and you will save a bit of money going to third party, probably about half or maybe more than half. Take this camera right here, this Nikon Z50 Mark II. It has a three-legged thing, L bracket on it, because I just happen to have it. Okay, and I don't see any manufacturer, any of the Really Right Stuff or Kirk coming up with one. They only usually typically come up with one on the popular cameras, okay? And I don't think they ever made one for the Z50. And the Z50,
They did.
They did?
Yeah, I have a genuine three-legged thing on my original Z50, and I love it.
No, the Kirks.
Well, yeah, but three-legged thing I would consider them an expensive brand.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, yeah. Okay. This one, I mean, I looked this up last night. I bought this 4 or 5 years ago. I looked this up last night. It was only like $59.
Oh, that's a bargain.
Yeah. And this is the adjustable one. And they say this is the one that will work with it. Although I like it up against the body. There's a gap right here because of that little thing where the camera strap goes.
How's your tilt screen work with it?
That's another problem. Okay. So here's the thing. I can open the tilt screen up that far. Okay. See it?
Mhm.
I can't go all the way across.
So just
So-
as long as your rule of thirds way over here, it's cool.
Yeah.
I'm in it right there. But yeah, otherwise it'll flip around, okay, and it does the same thing. It's not quite 90 degrees back because that bracket is keeping it from doing that. But to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of that screen. Okay, I mean, I guess if you were vlogging style, it would be like this. It'd be okay if you were doing that. But my nose seems to get in the way. I got to turn something off in the menu because every time I put my camera up to my eye, the nose moves the focus point for me, and
Just
I
turn
don't
the
want
screen
it to
around
be-
backwards, and that'll solve that
Well,
problem.
Yeah, that's what I was
another-
going to say. Was I
another
flip
option.
I close mine when I'm shooting through the viewfinder. That way I don't, because I had the same problem.
Yeah. So I mean, I tend to buy the Kirk L brackets for my good Nikon cameras. I've got one on the Z8, the Z6 II, the D500 has a Kirk. I have had a really right stuff before for an older camera body, like a D200 or something. So you got to spend $120 to $160 for one of those.
I buy the cheapest one I can find. The
Yeah.
very cheapest. Like this one's a Sunway photo.
Yeah.
I think the one on my Z6 is a Sunway photo.
That's what I'm
This-
showing you right here.
Is that a Sunway photo?
Sunway. Yeah,
Huh.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever is the absolute cheapest that is designed to fit on the camera is what I go with.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. But anyways, that was a question that she submitted to us, so I thought I would read. That was pretty cool. She did that.
So
I got
she's fun in the comments. I never knew. What'd you say her name was?
Kath. She goes, but I think it's Kathy.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. I never knew her name. It's just an @ sign and lots of letters and numbers.
K31 something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a-
So she's
yeah,
she's nice.
it's
It's
almost-
always nice to see her in the comments.
It's
Mhm.
almost like a
She's
ham.
she's even subscribed to my Phil Makes Videos channel. She's one of the 10.
Yeah,
I'm
getting
2 of the 10.
I'm getting some comments on YouTube from Terrell, Michael Anderson from Lenore City. I think it's Lenore City. Basslanger's on there.
Yep.
Anyway, I'll let
That's
you know.
the
if they
cool
have-
thing. We can all monitor the comments.
Mhm.
can if
Can
you're
now. I'm reading them finally.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was pretty cool that she asked that question, and they watch our channels all the time. They watch this. Okay, she's looking forward to this roundtable tonight. I did a little impromptu live stream in the basement today, which I was just talking bullshit, and I finally just deleted it. But she was eating her lunch, listening to me talk, decluttering my basement. Okay. So, anyway, they're big fans, and that was pretty nice of her. And in fact, she sent that question in through my website. Okay. I didn't even know
Wow.
she knew. I didn't know she knew where it was. Okay. Anyways, I have this little, real quick. I want to do something right here. And I like to do these little rapid fires. Okay. So I want to pick on one of you tonight. Okay. And the person I'm going to pick on is Philip Vignola.
Wow,
you-
I won the lottery, I guess.
Yeah, you did.
Well, I'll do double G next time. But it'll be different questions, hopefully, so he can't get the answers from this.
Fire away.
I have 17 questions. Okay, are you
Holy
ready?
cow.
17. This is rapid
We're
fire.
only here for an
17.
hour, buddy.
I sent in 3 and you had 4. Where'd you get the rest of them?
It's called rapid fire for a reason.
I gotcha.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, Canon, Nikon, or Sony?
Yes. Oh, not me.
Not you, the other Phil.
Yes.
Okay,
Same answer.
Wait a
Actually,
break. Canon, Nikon, or Sony?
my main camera is a Sony A7CR,
Okay, crop sensor or full frame?
full frame,
DSLR or mirrorless?
mirrorless,
Wide angle or telephoto?
telephoto,
RAW or JPEG?
raw.
Golden hour or blue hour?
Ooh.
They get harder.
Yeah, I'm gonna say blue.
Tripod or handheld?
Handheld,
Auto white balance or preset?
mostly auto.
Landscape, wildlife, or street?
Wildlife.
Favorite YouTuber?
Hmm. It's not a photographer.
Okay, whatever. Who's your favorite YouTuber?
Actually, I take that back. So this might get some groans, but Camera Conspiracies is probably my favorite channel.
Okay. Have you ever been recognized in public because of your YouTube channel?
Surprisingly, yes.
Where would you go if you had a free plane ticket anywhere?
I would go on an African safari somewhere in Africa.
Are you shoot first, edit later, or get it right in the camera?
Get it right in the camera.
Editing in Lightroom or Photoshop?
Actually, I just switched to DxO Photolab 8. I'm done with Adobe's fees, and I think my license runs out soon, so I switched over to DxO Photolab.
All right. Most overused photography trend?
Uh-oh. This is going to get me in trouble. Creamy waterfalls.
What?
Yeah,
All right.
controversial. I'll throw that out there because I know I've seen the
You just out. Well, your welcome's gone. Okay, we'll see you later.
yeah. Well, I didn't say I don't like it. I just think it's a little
Okay.
bit overused.
All right. Okay. What is your favorite photography rule to break?
Rule of thirds.
Yeah, I agree with that one 100%. Okay. Biggest pet peeve about other photographers?
Actually, honestly, I've got nothing but love for other photographers. If you can get out there on a daily basis and try to better yourself in your craft, more power to you. I don't have any beef against any photographers.
Congratulations, you passed.
All right. Well, I don't know. That waterfall thing might, I wasn't sure that would be good, but
I don't know. We'll have to see what the comments are saying here. Yeah, Terrell, how you doing? 2 days in a row live. That's right. Michael Anderson, the L bracket QD port, and I found out something today. The Kirk Enterprise L brackets, something happened with the D500 brackets. They do not have a QD port on them. I don't know why. I just noticed that yesterday. So I've been using the QD ports on my lens foot, but not on the camera. So I just noticed that the D500 did not have one on the L bracket. I don't know why. It must be a thing they changed after a while. So anyways, hey, who's got a question? David.
What?
I've got a question if you're not ready, Dave.
Go ahead.
Okay.
My question is for Garrick,
Oh boy.
and it is, well, let me give a little backstory. I've been watching your channel off and on ever since Woody Mallory recommended it, probably back in 2018 or 2019, something like that. And the entire time, you're using basically the same gear. And in
Yeah.
the meantime, I've changed gear 250 times. And everybody else in this live stream, even Tim, has changed gear a number of times. How do you stay away from gas?
I don't know, and because like there's a couple guys that I go out shooting with around here locally, and they are always changing and not necessarily upgrading, but lateral move left, lateral move right, and getting different stuff, new lenses all the time. Like you said, I've had the same gear for a long, long time. I mean, I can't remember the last new piece of gear that I bought, and I will say I love the D850, and I love the D500. For what I shoot sports and wildlife with the 500, and everything else with the 850, and I've got a I've been shooting Nikon for a long time, and so I've got a pretty decent collection. Probably not anything close to what you guys have, but I got a pretty decent collection of glass, and it's not even all Nikon glass. A lot of it's Sigma, as you can see with my L bracket. I don't necessarily buy off the top shelf, other than the D850, really. But yeah, just I enjoy the stuff that I have and working with it and I have actually considered mirrorless in the past year and a half or so, and it's funny because I watched the last episode of the Roundtable, and I think two of you guys had sold Z8, and that's the mirrorless that I would buy.
Oh,
I'm
that
not
means the
ready to buy
next
it now.
question
I
is for
think it's
Ron.
what's that?
I said that means the next question is for Ron because I think he has something to tell us.
Uh-oh. I
I
am.
am broke. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, you're muted.
This happens when you retire.
Oh, I thought you meant you were broke as in your shit ain't working, but you mean
No, my shit's working.
okay. You're not broke in, you're broke. I got you.
I am done. Okay. I am done with what I got, and that's it. I'm not doing anything else because I don't have the money to do it anymore. Okay.
So, but last night you were live, and I'm watching your live stream, and you're pointing out all your camera gear that's on the shelf or batteries that are on the shelf, and you said, "Yeah, this will work in my this and my this and my Z8." And I'm like, "Z8? You sold your Z8?" So, tell us about that.
I did not sell my Z8. Okay. I had, I guess what you call buyer's remorse. Okay.
Seller's remorse?
Yeah. So they sent when they sent the bid, or when I got the bid from MPB or the offer, I thought about it for a while, and I thought, this is kind of stupid. I do want a Z6 II though, another one, and I really am back at where I was a year ago. Okay, I had the Z6 II last January. I bought the Z8 in February, and I kept the Z6 II for a while and used it here in the studio as a webcam. Okay. And I took it out every once in a while. So I really loved that camera. And as you know, I went back and reviewed some of my images, and a lot of my best landscape images were shot with a D7500 back in 2018, 2019. It's the same sensor, okay, basically, as the D500 is. And I do have a D500. So I decided I better have that high megapixel camera for a lot of things. And really, what really changed my mind a lot was owning the 180 to 600 lens. And I was not happy with the performance of that lens. I was looking at the photographs it was producing at f6.3, and it just didn't seem quite sharp enough for me, especially compared to the 500 PF, until I found out from Phil that the sharpest aperture of that lens was f8. And when I turned it to f8, it changed dramatically. So I decided to keep it. Okay. And I'm going to live with that. I'm just going to stay with that. I still want to use the Z6 II for a lot of my landscape work just because of the file sizes. And it's got a good sensor in it. The 24 megapixel sensor is a good sensor. But I'll probably use the Z8 for specialty stuff, like really good landscape stuff like panoramas and things like that, and the wildlife. I mean, the shutter on that thing is just so silent. When you push the button and it fires off 20 frames, it's like, it's that quick, you know? So yeah, I'm done. I'm not buying any more gear. Now I bought the Z50 too. I upgraded from the Z50 for a reason. Okay. Because for a long time I was wanting something to carry around town. Okay. And I was really looking at different camera bodies, and I thought, I just ought to stay in the Nikon family with this. I shouldn't go outside the family because I got all these lenses. I got the 14 to 30, the 24 to 120. What else I got? Phil probably knows more than I do.
You got the 180 to 600. You've got a 70 to 200, but it's F mount.
Yeah, but I got
a bunch of stuff.
I got the 50 1.8S now. Okay.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, I bought that
means-
because I bought that because of David. Okay, he made me buy that.
Yeah, 50% of us have that lens.
So, but I heard David was looking for a cheap full frame body for some reason. Is that true, David?
I was going to get a DSLR because
Yeah.
of my AF lenses so I could focus them with autofocus. Like I was looking at the D700 and the D750s. You can get them things for little or nothing now in
Oh,
like
I know.
super good shape, like $300-400.
Yeah,
They
but
just
didn't
about give them away now.
That's about the price of what the adapter would be if they
Yeah,
made one.
exactly. I was absolutely considering it. I ain't done it yet, but I've got them saved, like searches saved on eBay and things like that where I was looking at them. Yeah, it's crazy how cheap those cameras have got.
I thought you had a D500.
I do. It's right by. It's filming right now.
Oh, the D500 is?
Oh no! That's a Z50. No, I've never owned a D500.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I thought you had a D500.
No, I've never owned one of those. I had a D810 and I had a D7000. That was the only two DSLRs I ever owned by Nikon.
Yeah. I've got a question off of YouTube. Terrell wants to know, do any of you shoot with Sigma lenses, and have you changed the lens foot out? Anybody shoot with the Sigma lens that's got a lens foot?
Why would
Yes.
anybody shoot with that Sigma trash?
Oh boy. I do, and I haven't changed the lens foot. I've got the 70 to 200.
Has
Me
it got
too.
a lens foot? You do?
Yeah.
What do you got, Garrick?
I've got I got I think the only Sigma that I have that has a lens foot is the 70 to 200 2.8.
Yeah, have
I've
you
not
changed?
changed the
No.
foot.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Terrell was asking that. Maybe he'll tell me here in the chat. You know.
Sigma makes a 500 millimeter f5.6 that's really small, like the Nikon 500 PF, and it's supposed to be extra super sharp, kind of like the 500 PF, and light, but it costs less than the Nikon 500 PF. But the collar on it has an Arca Swiss built in.
Yeah.
That's
That'll
nice.
that'll
Yeah.
go for your L mount Alliance and
They
your,
finally smartened up. I wish
and your Sony cameras.
I know there was a conversation about that. Why can't we just build Arca Swiss into the feet?
Oh yeah, that was on last night when
Right,
when I was
yeah.
talking. You know, I don't understand that myself. You know, but you buy a very expensive lens and they give you a crappy lens foot for it. You know that you're gonna take. They know you're gonna take it off and put something else on there anyways.
Right.
You know, so I think it's kind of weird. You know, it's like not including a battery charger in the Z50 Mark II. How much did they really save by doing that? You know,
$5.
not
Probably.
no, not a much. But hey, Tim, I noticed you held up your camera a while ago. Was that your Leica comeback?
Yeah.
Have
Yeah,
you
I
been?
came back on Monday, I think.
What was the outcome of your? What was your problem and what was your outcome from them? If everybody didn't know, tell us what you sent it. You had to send it back, didn't you?
I sent it back to MPB, and I got an email that said, we will be able to look at it within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I was like, okay, well, let's just, and within like a day and a half, they sent me back a thing that said there was oil on the viewfinder, and that was causing the rear screen to shut off because it thought I had my eye up here.
Wow.
So evidently I've got to clean this viewfinder every time I go out with a camera, which is, it's a small price to pay, but there was nothing wrong with the camera other than that.
Well, it was good that they got a warranty anyways, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, they paid shipping there, paid shipping back, and I just felt like an idiot. So
how are you and Mr. Leica getting along? You starting to get used to it?
Well, yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's the taking the pictures is becoming easier. Editing the pictures is another story. I'm having to relearn the whole way that I edit pictures to edit something that's already monochrome. It just does not work the same. And so I'm getting better, but I haven't gone out shooting enough to really practice with it enough. So when this rain stops, maybe I'll be able to go out again. Yeah,
I went out back a while ago to feed the birds, and the cat had muck boots on. So it's pretty wet out there, and it's supposed to get worse Saturday and Sunday again, they said.
Yeah. Yeah.
But usually we get this kind of weather. But back to the monochrome bit
Yeah.
are you able to use Lightroom?
Yeah, I am using Lightroom, and for a few touch-up pieces, I'm going into Photoshop. But I it took me a while to figure out what to do in Lightroom, um, because I wasn't getting the contrast between light and dark that I really wanted. And now I kind of have a better feel for how those things are accomplished. If you're shooting in color and you change it to black and white, there's you've got all these hues that you can go with, and luminance controls and all that kind of stuff. When it's just monochrome, none of those features work. They just don't work. And so you got to go back to the drawing board and figure out where you're going. So I'm getting there.
Could you
Let me see the
use
yellow filter.
I'm sorry.
Can I see the yellow filter that you're using now?
Yeah, hang on a second.
while you're
I'm
getting
assuming
that
you
out?
want me
I'm
to take it
wondering,
off.
could you use Photoshop instead?
I do use Photoshop some, but it's a lot more cumbersome for me. So this is just a Tiffin yellow filter. I started watching some channels that shoot in, the like the Q2M, and most of them say when they're going out, the yellow filter never leaves their camera. And I am getting a little different result with the yellow filter. And Phil mentioned something about a red filter. I am going to get a red filter as well. I've been trying to find magnetic filters, but I can't. I haven't been able to find what I'm looking for yet. So I may just have to stick with something that screws on. But they definitely do help to achieve some of the contrast I'm looking for.
I don't
Get
understand.
make the blue sky look dark, I guess.
The yellow filter does a little bit. I think the red filter does a lot more.
Yeah, the red one will definitely do it.
So if you're shooting a monochrome camera like that, you have to have filters.
You don't have to, but they do accomplish certain things for you.
Right.
And so to be able to darken the sky just a little bit, it really helps a lot with the overall finish of the photo. But yeah, it's just when the first time that David and I went out and I took it out the first time, I had all the settings wrong. I had no idea what I was doing. And because on my Canon, I usually just shoot auto ISO, and you can't get the look you want in monochrome on auto ISO. Everything just looks bland, because you want those deep dark shadows. So I'm getting the settings down. Of course, now that it's been through them, I'll probably have to reset everything. But yeah, so but at the same time, I'm working on an idea for a video for my photography channel, about the fact that I'm really enjoying having to relearn how to edit, because it all just was just becoming so blah.
Yeah.
Every image looked the same to me when I got done,
Mm.
so the struggle has been good.
Yeah. So I guess your black and white photography now will be mostly non-landscape, non-waterfall photography.
Yeah, I'm going to use the R6 Mark II for all of that stuff. I mean, it's just easier, because I do need more than just a 28 millimeter lens.
Mhm.
But my idea behind this camera, really, when I got it, I love black and white street photography, and I was looking for something a little smaller and more compact to carry with me when I travel. So like I'm booking this trip to Scotland in October. This is the camera I'm taking. And if I want to take pictures in color, I'll just use my phone. So it's going to be interesting.
Now I know on your last trip over to Italy, Assisi, is that right?
I didn't go to Assisi last time, but I did go a few years ago.
Well,
I went
anyway,
to I went to Rome and Florence.
okay. So your last trip, your camera that you took with you was the iPhone.
That's all I took.
Okay. Do you see you doing that on future trips, or do you see taking the Leica with you?
I think there's a possibility on some trips I would just take the phone. It's really nice just to be free, you know. But at the same time, the Leica is going to serve a particular purpose for me. So I may have it with me every time I go on a trip. Whether it comes out of the suitcase or not is another question.
Yeah. Hey, Phil, pick up that question from XH on YouTube and ask the group, would you please?
Okay. XH says, knowing what you know now, what camera and lens combo would you buy as a beginner starting out?
Wow.
Can
You
I?
get a
Yeah.
Nikon Z8.
Or what type of photography, I guess and
Yeah, that's a very good point. But the Z8
Just
can
go
do
right
all
to
of
the
them.
head of the
So
class. Forget all the other stuff.
Honestly, the out of the chute for a beginner, the Z52 and the kit lens is pretty bomb on wonderful. If you really insisted on thinking you needed full frame out of the box, a Z62 and the 24 to 70 f4 till you figure out what focal length you really like. Starting that mid-range stuff so that you can figure out, like, who was it that looked in their Lightroom catalog? Was it you, Phil, seeing what focal length you mostly
it was
shot
Ron.
at?
It was
It was
me.
Ron. Yeah.
It was me.
And then after a year, you can just analytically see, oh, I like to shoot at 70 millimeters. Get a 70 mil, you know.
Yeah.
But at first, that camera that Ron holds up occasionally, that'd be what I'd tell people. Get that Z50 Mark II and that, was it 18 to 55 or whatever the kit lens is?
It's a 16 to 50
Yeah.
with VR.
Yeah. I mean,
And
and it's dirt cheap.
Yeah. And then you got the other kit lenses, the 50 to 250, which gives you an equivalent reach of what? 75,
75 to
3,
3.
7,
It's a
75.
lot.
Yeah, there's a Facebook group, and I've seen some wonderful pictures out of this camera with that 50 to 250 lens. You know, it's a nice setup for what's the two lens kit cost? $1,250 or something like that, $1,300, I think, something like that.
Is that
I had
with the camera?
a camera and the kit lenses. Phil's going to tell us here in a minute. Okay, I think it's about 1,300.
That's what I'd tell people to get.
The body only is 909. Okay, I know that. And I think
1246.95.
for both lenses.
How much, Phil?
1246.95 for the camera and the 16 to 50 and the 50 to 250.
Right.
I would say the R50 couldn't be overlooked either. And I know they don't have a lot of APS-C lenses now, but with third parties starting to make those, R50 is a solid camera at a really good cost. And you can get there's two kit lenses that come with it from Canon as well. I forget what the total cost would be, but I actually gave my R50 to my daughter.
Just hold on. Phil's going to tell you. He's going to look it up.
But she's actually been able to do some birding with that. It's like a 18 to 135 lens or something like that. I forget what it was, but
the Sony
The
has
R50 with an 18 to 45, which would be a good walk around lens, but not a good, not a telephoto, is 749 right now.
yeah, I mean, it's really hard to beat.
R50 with the two lens kit, the 18 to 45 and the 50 to 210 is 949 out the door.
That's pretty good.
And I guarantee you the pictures will be wonderful.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you're not getting into a very expensive rig. So if something happens, you decided to upgrade down the road, you got better, you wanted to go to full frame, you still got this camera, you could pass it down to your wife or your kids or grandkids even. You're not got a lot of money invested in a rig.
You could vlog with it when you start your YouTube channel.
That's right. Yeah. So Phil, I'm curious, that same question for a wildlife setup, because I know you and I like the wildlife genre. What would you recommend for a starting system?
Probably an R7 with a 100 to 400.
Yeah.
Or maybe an R10.
Yeah, so that's the everybody assumes you just need this 150 to 600 or something to like the 200 to 800, whatever the case might be. But I can tell you, when I went to Florida, I took that R7 and the 1 to 400, and I didn't have any complaints about reach. I didn't have any complaints about image quality. I didn't have any complaints about video or the photos that I was getting out of it. It is
Yeah,
on the
and
expensive side, but
the Canon 100 to 400, what we're talking about is not a premium lens. It's a
Right.
budget lens. It's a 5.6 to 8, and it costs $649. It's this big, and
and super
it's
light.
it's pretty sharp. I mean, it's not as sharp as the 100 to 500 that costs $2,000 more, but it's pretty sharp.
So the R7 is a crop sensor body.
Yeah,
It is.
1.6 crop. So
Yeah.
you get more crop than you do on a Nikon.
On a
And the
Nikon.
R7 is 32.5 megapixels. So it's got the pixel density.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has,
It's
if
a
you
beast.
expanded the R7 out, that pixel density that it has out to full frame, it'd be 83 megapixels. It is, you got to crop with bird photography anyway. So, but the fact that the pixels are so dense on that camera, that means you got more pixels where the bird is.
Yeah, Terrell says he's got an R10, and if I did not have the Sigma 150 to 600, I would have gotten the 100 to 400. So he would have got that. Is the R10 a crop sensor?
It is.
It is. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I guess it makes a lot of difference when you're dealing with full frame or crop sensor, depending on your lens. It's just like taking that 180 to 600. You put it on the Z8, that's what you got, 180 to 600. But you put it on the Z50 Mark II, and you've got what, a 900?
Yep.
And I've been shooting some birds with the Z50 Mark II and the 180 to 600. All right now, okay. In good lighting, in a good day, at f8, you can crank the ISO up on the Z50 Mark II to 10,000 and clean it up nicely. Okay, you can't do that on a D500. They've done something special. I know it's supposed to be the same sensor, but they've done something, okay? They've tweaked the sensor or something, because if you push the D500 into the 4,000 area, and Double G knows what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
and so does Rodney, you're having a mess trying to clean them up, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
I try to limit my D500 images at 3,200.
Yeah, because I had the 7500 for a while shooting wildlife, and I'm with you there. It's the same sensor. So yeah, you couldn't push that one too hard.
Yeah, but supposedly the Z50 Mark II has the same sensor as the D500 and the 7500, but it's better. I mean,
Got different software processing the data coming from the sensor.
it must be. It's using that newer processor chip, the XP7. I don't know if they're doing some magic there or what. But I wouldn't have attempted to try that, except I watched Hudson Henry talk about his Z50 Mark II, and he takes it on vacation, kiteboarding and stuff with his family and all that. And he started talking about this 10,000 ISO, about pushing it and cleaning it up in Lightroom denoise. And I tried it, and it works. Okay, it's so I've been shooting birds out back with it, and it's doing a really good job. Next question. Next topic. We got about 20 minutes. Don't go stale on me. David, where did you just come back? Where did you just come back from, David?
We went down to Central Florida. I went down for what is called a ham fest. It's for lack of a better term, it's in the South we go to gun shows. It's a gun show, but for ham radio gear. But while we was down there, I did do a little street photography. We went over to Titusville, where the Cape Canaveral, you could see the vehicle assembly building from the town. It's all right there across the water from it. I did a little street photography in that town. Did a little photography at the Ham Fest, and we'll take a poll. Well, of course, Garrick and Philip, they don't know me that well, so unless they watch my channel, which they probably don't. But the other four of you will I'm going to let you guess at what lens did I photograph stuff at the Ham Fest with on my ZF. Let's just see what you come up with. What was the lens?
Bill's got it.
Yeah, I'd say it's the 50 millimeter.
So far, you're both wrong.
Uh-oh. Curveball.
Yeah.
Wow. The 500 PF.
All right, Tim, what's your guess?
Oh, I was going to go with 50, but I'll jump back to a 28.
I had the 55 millimeter micro Nikkor, so I could do close up photos.
Nice.
Yeah, it's an old AI lens. Takes stunningly sharp photos, but yeah, so I could do photos. And then I forgot and left it on auto ISO and had it stop down to get depth of field, and of course got a bunch of blurry photos indoors. But yeah, the pictures turned out. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I still was rocking the 51.8S most of the time.
Yeah. I've yet to mount mine and try it. I bought it refurbished from Nikon. They had a sale on it, and Phil said I should go ahead and buy it. So I listened to Phil.
Well, he didn't steer you wrong. It's a wonderful lens.
I'm not listening to Phil no more, though.
Yeah, that's your last piece of gear.
I already told you why. Okay.
Yes, well, same here, Ron. I just
Yeah.
boxed up. I've got a box
Let me-
waiting to go to MPB for
Let me
the
see if I
ones
can
that I
get full
bought.
screen.
What are you selling, Phil?
I'm very tempted to put down on a piece of paper all my camera gear and what the value is of it, and stick it in my safety deposit box in case I die.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell my wife, if I die, go get that envelope first.
Yeah, but only after.
Yeah, no, don't do it now.
So
Gosh,
I've got Phil. I've got the RX10 Mark IV and the XH1 and the ZVE10 that I'm selling. So I got that. Your favorite lens.
Yeah, my favorite.
Yeah. But that about covers it. So I'm in the spot where if I want to get something new, I need to sell something old because of that whole retirement thing, just like Ron.
Oh, I don't believe that. No, I don't believe that for a minute. Okay, I'm the poorest one of the group here. You just came back from Florida, didn't you?
I did. The trip cost me about 150. Well, about $300 because I was staying with a friend. So it was a $150 flight and $150 for the rental, and he worked at Walt Disney World and got me into the parks for free. So it was a really inexpensive, but I did one day of wildlife. Phil, he works at one of the bars too, Phil. So it's kind of,
What city was that you was at?
He's in Davenport.
Davenport.
Yeah. But he's in Claremont now. Sorry.
Okay.
So that's not too far from, Disney. And I went all around Lake Apopka when I did my one day of photography. I think I hit like 5 or 6 different spots, but it was fun.
Yeah. Did you get some decent bird shots or?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them were lifers for me because I lived down there for a while, but I wasn't really into birds. But I didn't, you never get as many as you want when you go out birding. So
Yeah.
but it's still a good trip.
Yeah, I'm supposed to go down the end of the month to visit family. Well, not my family, her family, and there's a friend of mine from Crossville that's down there now. He goes every winter. He's over on the West Coast. I think he's over near Tarpon Springs that area, and he does photography. So I've been keeping up with him, and he told me for the area I'm going to be in, he told me a place I could go. But he says that a lot of places on the West Coast down there have been ravaged by the storms, and they're not seeing the birds. They're not seeing the birds they've seen in the previous years. He says it's been really slow. He has. Now there's another guy from Crossville that's down there. He's at the Orlando wetlands.
Yeah.
And Black Point, and he's been posting pictures every day. Okay, of what he's seeing. And
That place is cool.
Yeah, that's the spot to go in Central Florida. And did the wildlife drive, the Popka Wildlife Drive, I think that's what it's called, right, Phil? Anyway, there's a wildlife drive that you can do, but it's only open on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I missed it, and I wasn't able to do that. But that's spectacular from all accounts I've seen.
Yeah, well, Orlando Wetlands it's really not. It's closer to Titusville than it is to Orlando.
Yeah,
where David was.
it's on the
And
east side of
David,
Orlando.
when you were at Titusville, you were over there where the vehicle assembly building is. That's Merritt Island, and that's where the Black Point Wildlife Drive is, which we've been to. Heather and I've been to a bunch of times. Love going there. Not going to go there in March, but we do.
Yeah, we
do
went
that there.
through there and saw it. We went over to the beach. It was beautiful. We saw lots of wildlife along the road's edge. But yeah, it was cool.
That's where
Mhm.
we went a couple of Julys ago. We went on a tour with kayaks that were clear. And in the shallow water around Merritt Island, there's some bioluminescent life forms in the water. And we went on a new moon, so it was totally dark. And as you paddle, the water lights up. And if you spook a school of fish, they swim off and the water lights up. I mean, it looks like you're on Pandora.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of
Garrick,
fun.
I was looking at some of your videos, perusing your channel to see if we wanted to invite you on here or not. But
And you still invited me.
well, actually, Phil sent me Phil's been helping me out. He sent me a link to your channel, and when I started watching it, I was really impressed with your fortitude out there. In I think the first video I watched was you was out there in the snow in the middle of Timbuktu, somewhere in Illinois, trying to shoot a barn
Yes.
with some trees to the left side of it, and
Yep.
it was, you can tell. I mean, I said, this dude is serious. I mean, this is bitter cold out there. I said, I don't know what camera he's vlogging with, but it's about to freeze up on him.
Well, didn't your D850 freeze up on you, kind of?
It did.
When you were shooting the geese?
I thought it did recently. Yeah, I think it ended up, I think it was just one of those knockoff batteries, but I was getting a weird error message and I would press the shutter release. And this happened like 15 minutes after I started, shooting. It was -10 actual temperature. So the wind, and I was out on a bridge over the Fox River. So you can imagine the wind that you're getting, coming down the river. Uh, so I was out there trying to get some shots, and 10 minutes into it, I'm getting an error message, and it's just ERR is what you would see on the screen, and I would hit the shutter release, and it would go away. But then I'd take another picture or try to do a little clip of video. I'd get that same message, and even took the lens off, powered the camera down, did everything you could possibly imagine. Battery out, put it back in, and the battery was fresh. I mean, it was fully charged when I started. And yeah, I think I just, for the heck of it, I put a different battery in, and I was back up and running. So had to be something with that battery. I hope that was it. I haven't had any issues with it, since that day. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a brutal winter, and I've been out in it a lot this winter, and it's just been cold. We haven't had a whole hell of a lot of snow, but it has been brutally cold this winter. Kind
We
of
made a
tired.
video a few years ago, or maybe just a couple years ago, and the place you were hiking, the ground was completely frozen. And I just remember the sound of you
Yeah,
walking on that ice was like,
yeah,
wow.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
we don't hear that sound too much around these parts.
So when you first started, Garrick, photography, was you into landscape, and have you always been into landscape, or have you ventured a little bit in the wildlife or anything else?
Um, I've always, well, when I started in photography, it was sports. It was, any sport. I just loved to capture sports. When I was a kid growing up, my dad would get, I think it was Sport Magazine and Sports Illustrated, and I wouldn't, I'd take them when he was done, and I wouldn't read them. I would cut all the pictures out of them and just look at, all these different images or whatever. And uh, yeah, so it was totally sports. I mean, my dream was to be, sitting in the end zone at the Super Bowl, shooting. But um, you know, since in the last 15 years or so ish, I've really gotten into landscape and the stuff I was kind of talking about earlier. I actually, I never wanted to do portrait. I'll never do another wedding. I did one for free, and I'll never do that again. But I never thought I would want to shoot portraits, but I love shooting, like environmental portraits, people in their space, in their area, hunter out in this game or whatever. I've shoot, senior portraits of football players. I take them out into the stadium, set up some lights and do the whole thing. I actually love portraiture. I don't do a whole heck of a lot of it. Um, it kind of goes in waves for me. The things that really stick are landscape, sports, wildlife, um, and I'm loving street photography. Loving
Is
street
that new for
photography.
you, street?
What's that?
Is street photography new for you, Garrick? I
A little
haven't,
bit.
I don't recall seeing it, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing it a lot on your channel.
Yeah. I kind of got the bug. I love it. I love it. Going into Chicago and shooting street photography, or and what I'm doing also a lot lately within the last year or so is a lot of small town street photography, which I've got abundance of that around me. So it makes it even more fun.
Yeah, I've seen some of that street photography you put on your channel, especially the one, the memorable one is I guess it's the L. They call it the L, the elevated
Yeah.
road with that building in there. I said, wow, that's a cool shot right there. And I guess that person you was with knew where to go.
Yeah. That's a good friend of mine that I go shooting with, and he knows a lot of like the secret spots in Chicago, and fortunate to have him as a friend and a guide, for take me around the city. So,
Yeah.
yep.
So I got one last question for the entire group, and you can answer this individually. Have uh, have any of you ever been in a photography slump? And when was the last time this happened to you? And how did you break the slump?
I'm in a slump like once a month.
So I can tell you that the winters used to just do me in, like not just photography related, but I just did, until I started really seriously getting into wildlife photography. That kind of broke me out of my slump. I wasn't really doing much in the winters other than just sulking about how. And North Carolina, I'm Central North Carolina. It's not terribly cold in the winter, but it's cold enough where it's just I would just not do a whole lot of anything, and just trying something new, which I've always liked. I did like backyard birding for a while, but actually getting out, getting up in the morning, smelling the fresh air, seeing the sunshine every now and again, and just being out in nature and kind of just walking around. And even if I didn't get any shots, at least it got me out of the house and it kind of broke through that. I don't want to call it depression, but just that winter funk that probably a lot of people go through. But that last year, and then finding local lakes, and if any watch any of my videos, Lake Betts is one of my favorites. I can be there in 10 or 15 minutes, and just whenever I need to clear my head or whatever, just go out there and grab my camera and have some fun.
So you produced a project for yourself this year, the big year 2025 in birds.
The big year, yes.
The big year. So that seems to be keeping you going.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah. So I also did a documentary on Lake Betts for winter birds. I'm going to do one for spring, summer, and fall as well. So I've got 3 more documentaries that I'm going to be shooting, and then I'm going to be combining that with my big year. So I won't have time to be bored or in any funk.
Big year. Yeah. David, have you ever been in a photography slump before?
Yeah, it's happened a time or two. Like last spring, and I attribute it to YouTube because you get in this groove of having to produce content. So I go out and take photos for the video, typically a lens review or something, and I'm not really shooting for me, I'm shooting for the video. And eventually it burns me out for it, and I just want to take a break from it. And last year I did that, and then it took me 2 or 3 months. I just took a few months off and just laid the camera down, did some other things, and that seemed to help a lot for me. Was just to step away from it a little bit, get some perspective, and come back to it. But yeah, it's happened.
I think for me, sitting here watching your YouTube numbers every 5 minutes is depressing. Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, I get so sick of it. Sometimes I just say, I ain't doing no more videos. And you just don't know what's going to do what. And it's not even about monetization anymore. Okay. It's just, to me, it's just producing the videos when I want to. And I've got 2 active channels. Okay. The third channel, I'm not doing any more videos for it. I'm just going to let it sit there and do what it does. It's got like 100 and some videos on it from work. I don't even care what it does. Okay. It was a lot of fun when I was at work doing it, but it's not so much fun anymore. Okay. The retirement channel I have is more about me, not my photography, not about camping, just about me. I did a cooking video this week. I've done some live streams in the basement where I'm decluttering my basement. So I don't even care what it does either. And I'm to the point where I don't care what the photography channel does. Actually, I'm wanting to get more back into my photography. Okay. What I miss landscape photography, and wildlife photography. It just happened like Phil up there to fill in a gap, when I wasn't doing landscape photography. And, I found that I enjoy it. I like shooting birds, or let me rephrase that. I like photographing birds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but, how about you, Tim? Have you ever been in a photography slump, and when was the last time that happened?
I am in a photography slump, and when I figure out how to get out of it, I'll let you know.
Okay. I think sometimes as photographers, we have to help each other. Okay. And I mean, I don't care if it's just, picking up the phone and calling and say, hey, let's go shoot something today, and that's what I want to do. I want to come down to Chattanooga and walk around with, a couple of you, one of you. I mean, I want to do the 6-mile walk with David. Okay. That's what I want to do. I was looking his whole ensemble over, and I'm going to get me some Skechers. Okay.
Hey, let me just show you what them 7 and 8 mile photo walks do to your shoes.
Oh boy.
Okay?
Because I was wondering one day, I said, I wonder what kind of shoes he wears. And then I seen he was wearing There you go.
You see, you wear the soles completely off of them.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's supposed to be gray.
Is that a Sketcher?
No, these are Brooks.
Oh, hey, I got Brooks.
Yeah, the Brooks running shoes. But I've wore them way out. But yeah, them photo walks are straight eat a pair of running shoes up. But good shoes are crucial. Yeah.
I got my eye on it down there. I need to come down there. I need to get my truck and drive. What days do you walk around, David, when you do walk around? Any day, or you just
Tuesdays? Usually Tuesdays and Thursdays. Is my usual day. Sometimes Wednesdays as well. It varies depending on what's happening in the machine shop, but pretty much Tuesdays and Thursdays, with a Wednesday occasionally swapping for one of them. But yeah,
we should
almost always Tuesday.
Sorry. I was just going to say, we should see if we try to get something together. I've been trying to get together with Phil, and it's an 8-hour drive for me. So it'd be something that I would just take the RV and stay at a campground. Phil showed me a really nice campground, but we should see if we can plan something.
Harrison Bay is there, or Tim, you could stay up there at Chilhowie Mountain at Benton Falls up in that campground.
Was it Harrison Bay that you?
Yeah, it was Harrison.
Yeah, that's the one. Really nice RV sites.
It's
They're
a
kind
really
of
nice
paved
campground.
It's a beautiful campground. It really is.
Maybe we could take him down to Benton Falls and change his mind about waterfall photography.
I can't tell you the last time I shot. Well, I can. Last time I shot landscape photography was when I went to Ireland, and was only because I went to Ireland.
That's what's wrong.
Well, that would be landscape. You'd want to shoot that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. You just need to practice more, okay?
Yeah, I don't dislike it at all, but I've just been so consumed with wildlife and specifically bird photography that whenever I take my camera out, I'm shooting an animal.
Well, maybe you don't have the right lens.
I think I know what's wrong. It doesn't say Nikon on the front of his camera.
Phil and I have been having conversations, and I started Nikon. I still love Nikon, but
Phil salivates over his Z8. He loves it. Okay, I think I've heard him say it's the best camera he's ever had.
It may be my Garrick Gillette D850. It may be the camera that finally makes me happy.
Yeah.
We'll revisit that comment in 6 months.
And it's got a
Decide
50
to
mil
sell
on
it.
it. So
Phil, if you decide to sell it, let me know. I might be ready by then.
Well, the person I sold my Z8 to, she loves it. She,
Oh, I'm sure.
yeah, it's a great camera. There's nothing bad that I can say about that camera.
You sold a Z8?
I sold my Z8, yeah.
Did you sell it with a lens?
No, I sold. She already had the 180 to 600 and the 1 to 400, so I just sold her.
Okay.
I think I sold her the teleconverter for the 1 to
Yeah.
4 and the Z8.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, okay. All right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 5 minutes. It was fun. If you, I'll keep you in the email list. If you can't, for some reason, make one of these that we do, don't worry about it. And I'll just keep pestering you. And if you don't want to hear from me anymore, I just do like I do the camera club. Just say, hey, don't send me any more emails. I've got, I do have another guy from California that would like to join us. Yeah, Johnny Pink. And I'm looking at the format of this and trying to figure some things out. Let me hold on one second. Let me end the live stream. Hey, all you guys on YouTube, thanks for coming by tonight. And we're going to shut the live stream off and appreciate y'all and say bye to everybody. And we'll see you next